Recently, I've been seeing a lot of news, shootings, stabbings, you know what I mean? Like it's everywhere. And I just thought, man, if that ever happened to me right now, today, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd freeze. So I decided to do something about it. Not research, not watch a video, actually go to a gym today and ask someone who knows. This is what happened. I finally arrived, but they told me self-defense training needed an appointment. I understood, but I wasn't in a waiting mood, so I kept moving.
Buti bukas kayo sir, no?
Daw po ng sa mga school po. Hindi na ano po parang
Inside the dojo, I met someone who had also just started training.
Yung
I asked
shooting
her
sa
why
ano
she
din,
came.
Leyte.
She was worried
Oo, yung
about the
sa
same things I
Leyte na
was.
lang na Marine.
The same headlines, the
Sabay,
same
no?
dread.
May mga sira
I
pa
wasn't alone in this. This gym has been a professional MMA training ground since 2009. Over the years, it's developed multiple MMA champions, fighters who've tested their skill in the cage and won. What I was about to learn wasn't theory, it was forged here. When I first saw him, I didn't realize who he was, but behind that humility stood over a decade of building champions. He's Sir Henry Kobayashi. This was the founder, the Grandmaster. And his story was written on every wall. The Grandmaster told me something I won't forget. An attacker doesn't care what they grab, a knife, a stick, whatever's within reach. The weapon isn't the real threat, the intent behind it is. But before he even showed me a single drill, he made one thing absolutely clear. The best defense is to not be there. If you can run, run. If you can avoid the confrontation entirely, do it. De escalate. Walk away. Your ego is not worth your life. Only if you're cornered, pushed to the wall, no escape route left. Only then do you fight. And that's what these drills are for, the last resort. And when you're in that worst case scenario, the first instinct most of us have, step backwards. But he said that's exactly what gets you hurt. Moving straight back gives the attacker more room to extend their reach. You're not escaping, you're feeding their advantage. Instead, sidestep, create an angle, close the distance on your terms. Control the attacking arm, not the weapon, the limb. Once you have that, counter, strikes, throws, whatever it takes to stop the threat long enough to, you guessed it, escape. Because the goal is never to win a fight, it's to survive it and get away. Now, I know how some of this looks. When you see a joint lock applied in a demo, it can seem like acting, like the partner is just going along with it. Yet here's the reality. A proper joint lock, done correctly, doesn't rely on pain compliance. It mechanically immobilizes the joint. It doesn't matter how tough you are or how high your pain tolerance is. If your wrist, elbow, or shoulder is taken past its natural range of motion and locked there, you cannot move without breaking yourself. That's not acting, that's anatomy. And in the chaos of a real attack, that kind of control can buy you the seconds you need to escape. But here's the part most videos won't tell you. When your brain is flooded with adrenaline, it doesn't think clearly. It gets confused, disoriented. In that moment, you can't rely on a thought. You can only rely on what your body has done enough times to remember without thinking. That's why practice matters. Repetition doesn't just teach you a skill, it wires it into your nervous system. They call it muscle memory, but it's really brain training. And when panic shuts down your conscious mind, that trained reflex is the only thing left that can take over. Now, I'm sure you've already watched plenty of these knife defense drills. Maybe you've seen a dozen different techniques. But here's the truth. I could show you drills all day. You still won't feel the pressure through a screen. You won't build the reflex. That only happens inside a gym, with a teacher who knows how to push you past your comfort zone, and who will remind you every session that the best fight is the one you never had. And please, don't try to learn these techniques just by watching this video. It's not safe, it's not effective. You need a qualified instructor to correct your form and keep you from hurting yourself or someone else. The girl I met inside the gym, the one scared by the same headlines you saw, she gets it. She's in here, doing the reps. Not just watching, doing. So go, find a place, put in the reps. Because when it's real, your body won't rise to the occasion. It will fall to its training. And if you're lucky enough to escape unharmed, that's the only victory that matters. I walked into that gym hoping for a technique, a trick, something I could keep in my pocket just in case. But the Grandmaster didn't give me a magic move. He gave me something harder, the truth. Preparing doesn't guarantee you'll survive. It doesn't make you invincible. Anyone who tells you otherwise is lying. It only gives you a fighting chance, a few seconds of trained instinct when everything else goes dark. The rest, it's out of your hands. So yeah, you train, you prepare, but you also pray. Pray to Jesus for safety. Because no amount of skill can promise you'll come home untouched. You do what you can with your body, and you entrust the rest to Him. You know, the first gym I went to turned me away. They needed an appointment. I almost gave up right there. But something made me keep looking. And that closed door, it led me here, to a Grandmaster, to people training their bodies to respond when their minds shut down. Sometimes the wrong door gets you to the right place. That's not nothing. In a world where the news is full of things we can't control, choosing to prepare even just once is an act of courage. It won't erase the fear, but it will put your body between that fear and the worst possible outcome. And sometimes that's just enough to come home.